love scene, and then I want to go back to Roosevelt playoff, and then up through Skipping Big, Unworthy of Your Love Again. And Sondheim is a genius because the way every lyric means something. Every lyric is a bullet. Every lyric is a grenade. Miss one lyric out and it will change the dynamic of the story. I think there's a common theme going through all of Sondheim's work, and that's the issue of wanting to connect.
I thought it would be like just a dark retelling of the history, but it's not at all. And it's really interesting to have these characters who committed these horrible crimes humanized.
In musical theatre, there's so much singing. It's just nice to do a piece, you know, where you can get a bit of grit into it, which sometimes Assassins really does. It's very gritty.
All you have to do is squeeze your little finger, ease your little finger back. You can change the world.
Assassins is about, ostensibly, the 9 men and women who have attempted, or in some cases succeeding, in assassinating the American presidents. It is a bizarre show, to say the least, with a musical fabric that more or less gives the texture of American music culture, from the assassination of Abraham Lincoln up until relatively the present day. There's almost a Carpenter's pastiche in there a little bit as well. There's a lot of barbershop, there's a huge amount of American music, different styles and different themes. It's an interesting show, and it's one that I've always wanted to direct. So we started auditioning in the autumn of last year, and we had a phenomenal response. We auditioned for what seemed like years, but was actually quite a few days. And fortunately for me, all of my first choices, we offered them the roles, and they all came back and said, yep, we'd love to do it. I'm often asked why I would want to work on Assassins. And I think there's a common theme going through all of Sondheim's work, and that's the issue of wanting to connect. Be it the character of Amy saying to Bobby and company, you know, want something, and getting him to being alive, or connect George in Sunday in the Park with George, and that need to be a part of something, be it in a relationship or a part of something bigger, is prevalent the whole way through Assassins. It's almost signposted in Sondheim's lyrics in the finale, but at the same time, these individuals are desperately lonely and want to connect. When we first started rehearsals, I said to the cast that I'm not interested in the assassins' motives, and I'm not interested in why, ostensibly, they did what they did. What I'm interested in is why these individuals are hurting, and I think that's a slightly different view of Assassins. I'm excited about what we're doing in our rehearsals. I think it's going to be a great show.
Hi, my name's John Joe Flynn. I trained at the Arts Educational School. I was there for a few years. And I'm playing the balladeer and Lee Harvey Oswald. The balladeer turns into Lee Harvey Oswald at the end. I know lots of productions don't do that version, but we're doing that version. It's a really interesting character to play, because he symbolises the spirit of America. He symbolises the American dream.
Charlie can talk, never said never or heard the word no. Faced with disaster, his heart would beat faster, his smile would just grow.
I don't think it is American bashing. I don't think it's anti-establishment. I don't think it's anti-anything, really. I think it's just somewhat the story of all these people, these manic. Some of them are calculated, and they do it for political reasons, like John Wilkes Booth. Some of them are clearly just mental.
Charlie says that in America the pigs are finally coming home to roost, rotting and reeking with the oozing smell of a society devouring its own age.
Who's Charlie?
Charlie Manson?
Charlie Manson? The mass murderer? Is he a friend of yours?
I'm his lover and his slave.
And Ray's such a brilliant director, and it sounds a bit, stereotypical actor, organic. I hate that when people say that, but it kind of is, because with Ray we just bounce ideas off one another, and then I could do The Ballad of Gâteau twice and do it completely differently. What I find really, really interesting, particularly, is the relationship between John Wilkes Booth and the balladeer at the beginning, and it's like cat and mouse, and then how that dynamic changes, and then John Wilkes Booth comes into Lee Harvey Oswald, who was the balladeer, he's turned into Lee Harvey Oswald. He comes into his psychology and then almost beckons him to commit the murder, commit the assassination of JFK. And it's how that role is reversed. How someone in control is now powerless, and actually someone who was powerless, tell my story please, is now powerful.
Hi, I'm Marcia Brown and I'm playing Lynette Squeaky From.
I am Beau Frazier and I'm playing John Hinckley Jr.
I am unworthy of your love. Let me prove worthy of your love. I'll find a way to earn your love. Wait and see. Then you will turn your love to me.
And it's such a beautiful song on its own. And then you listen to it and you think, oh, there's something not quite right here.
Yeah.
And the kind of dark side appealed to me, I suppose.
Yeah.
And obviously, Squeaky From is one of Charles Manson's disciples. So that is the darling Charlie about whom she sings. And I was aware of Charles Manson and his evil things that he did. It's weird playing someone who's still real. For me, she's still alive today. I mean, it's very strange as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just looking at footage and reading about them. But I think you're right. There's a kind of line that you have to draw where you think, right, I'm not going to make this an impersonation. It has to be your interpretation of that. It is a fantastical piece. We never met. So yeah, there's kind of so far you can go.
Yeah. It's really interesting to have these characters who committed these horrible crimes humanized and become real people, and you see why. And they are just normal people who you would see on the street who just happen to do kill a president.
Something horrific. Yeah.
So I think that it gives a really interesting view to these notorious crimes. Yeah, and it is funny.
It's really funny. Musically, I suppose if you have some interest in musicals, seeing a Sondheim show is very different from anything that's kind of popular musicals that are on in the West End.
And what I like about this certain show is each character has a different era and a different time period, and each song musically represents that. It really, like, ours is like this cheesy, like, 80s ballad. And then we have, like, Gâteau, and then it's all over the place, but it works so well together.
Well done, Mr. Sondheim.
Yes. Yeah, it's great. Because there's a purpose to every style of music in the show.
Hi, I'm Martin Dickinson. I'm playing the role of John Wilkes Booth in Assassins. Which is a great part. It's really nice because it's one of those parts that doesn't do too much singing. In musical theatre, there's so much singing. It's just nice to do a piece, where you can get a bit of grit into it, which sometimes Assassins really does. It's very gritty. So John Wilkes Booth is he's based on a real character, John Wilkes Booth, who shot Abraham Lincoln in 1865, I think. I might be wrong, could be 1863, I can't remember exactly. Around the 1860s. Basically, he he made him a martyr almost. So kind of that's where John Wilkes Booth's story comes from. Well, I've done a fair bit of musical theatre. Just did an album and worked with Monty Pello on Jekyll and Hyde, and I kind of wanted to do something a bit straighter, something with a bit more dialogue, something with a bit more text, more of a play, which Assassins, it is. There's some really nice scenes, and John Wilkes Booth and Lee Harvey Oswald have a wonderful scene at the end, which kind of gives me a chance to kind of access that side, and also at the beginning as well. Sondheim writes so well for the actor, not just. It's not all glitz and glamour. He has those. He brings those into it, but he also really knows how to access the actor's brain as well, and the way his lyrics are written really allows you to kind of absorb that. Rather than some musical theatre writers kind of want you to explore the sound of the music and the tune, but he really lets you kind of chew the meaning of the words, which is great.
Everybody's got the right to be happy. Say enough, it's not as tough as it seems. Don't be scared, you won't prevail. Everybody's free to fail. No one can be put in jail for his dreams.
Assassins runs from the 21st of March until the 7th of April at the Pleasance Theatre in Islington. Box office 0207 609 1800. I hope to see you there.
Look on the bright side, get off the backside, shine and cheer. This is your golden opportunity. You are the light wait till you see tomorrow. Tomorrow you won't be bored. You could be pardoned.